Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Books and Rain. I'm Rachel, and you are probably seeing me after my workout. After I did not take a shower yet, but I did put my sweatshirt back on because after my workout I got chilly. So I've been kind of putting this on my little hands just to keep warmer, but then this jumps up to my up here, and then that bothers me. So if you see me tugging it down, please ignore. It's just one of those fiddly things. But anyway, you're also seeing my makeup kind of having faded from the probably 12 hours ago that I put it on. So, but we're talking about books as we do on Coffee Books and Rain. And I don't actually have coffee, but I have a ginger turmeric tea, which is absolutely delightful. Highly recommend. So cheers to that. And rain is on the horizon. We have a squall line coming through hopefully in the next hour, and I love a good rainstorm. But we are diving into The Extraterrestrial Zoo, Finding the Lost One by Samantha von Leer. Now, very interestingly, I was trying to kind of do a little bit of research into Samantha von Leer, and under Samantha von Leer, about the author, it says Samantha von Leer is a junior in high school, and she conceived the idea for Between the Lines and pitched it to her mom, Jodi Picoult, who was in the middle of a book tour. So that's just what it says about Samantha von Leer. And I was like, okay, cool. She's a junior in high school. Very cool. That's awesome. She came up with this idea. And if her mom is Jodi Picoult, that's amazing because, of course, that is someone who is an absolute, I guess, just epic writer. I was trying to think of just better words than that. And right now, it's just not happening with words. So, however, when I started reading the book on my my e-reader, and I have one on my phone and then I have one on my tablet, there is a dedication, and it says to my husband, and I'm like, Samantha von Leer looks like she's in junior high, so did she get married, or is it maybe being ghostwritten by Jodi Picoult? Is she writing, did Jodi Picoult write it or publish it on behalf of her daughter? I was just kind of curious, but I just thought that was very interesting. I'm not going to question it too deeply. I'm not going to dive into it any further. But I was a little confused whenever I saw that, and after reading the fact that Samantha von Leer was just a junior in high school. And I think when I was a junior, I was 16 or 17. I think I walked into my junior year 16. I think I walked out of it 17, because birthdays and all. And then I think when I was a senior, I walked into it 17, and then I walked out of it 18. But I just thought it was interesting that the dedication had said to my loving husband, and I was like, but she's a junior. Is there a arranged marriage situation? What's going on? The book is really cute. I promise. We're going to dive into that. But I had a good time with it. I was just absolutely kind of confused for 5 minutes when I saw that. So let's just dive into The Extraterrestrial Zoo, number 1, Finding the Lost One, and we are diving into the summary. 13-year-old Ava helps run her family's refugee for extraterrestrials, and they call them ELBs, extraterrestrial living beings. They don't call them aliens and things like that, which is kind of a cool thing. But a sudden attack on the zoo leads to her discovering a government conspiracy that upends everything she believed to be true. When meteors suddenly dropped to Earth containing eggs in which alien babies were growing, the government called in the experts. Ava's parents hatched, cared for, raised, and researched these unique beings. When Ava was born, she became part of the team. So many extraterrestrial living beings, the ELBs, came that the government funded the Alien Zoo, where visitors could come and see the ELBs. It was a huge success in its day. But now, Ava is 13 and so much has changed. A terrible car accident claimed her mother, and her father, in deep despair, left Ava and the zoo in the care of his brother, who is still healing from emotional wounds from his wartime. Then the alien babies stopped coming, and so did the public. So when 15-year-old Harley shows up as an intern for the zoo, Ava feels blindsided. This is her show. And then a terrible storm changes everything. The once beloved ELBs are loose and being hunted. Ava's uncle is MIA. All she has is this strange boy to help her save everything she loves. So it is considered science fiction middle grade. And someone else even kind of made the kind of comment that it feels a little like Lilo and Stitch. I can definitely feel a nod towards that, even if her sidekick is not this scrappy little spunky alien who is, blasting off like his little pistols and playing Elvis and all this sort of fun stuff. Because love Lilo and Stitch. Not certain about the live action. I just don't think it was necessary. I don't think it's happened yet, but I still don't think it's necessary. I just don't think I need a live action for every animated thing. There's so many other books that we could definitely make movies for, but that is my little spiel about this. But let's dive in for this particular book. And I certainly love a cute middle grade book. Something that now, surprisingly, this seems to have a bit of a heavier theme. Ava does have some depression. There is some loss there. She is definitely very guarded when it comes to herself and the things that she kind of cares for, her family, her uncle. And so when the story opens, she's trying to take care of the zoo, and it's just her and her uncle. And they're doing a pretty good job, but people don't really come to this zoo anymore. So they're just really caring for these ELBs. And that's totally fine. They need to be cared for if they can't live in our environment and in like Earth's atmosphere. And some of them cannot because maybe they don't really breathe our air or something of that nature. They need special things in order to survive properly. Kind of very fish out of water in a lot of different ways. And this gave me like she's not kind of naive. She's still naive in a lot of ways because she's a 13-year-old girl. So don't think she's completely grown up. But she is old enough or she's experienced enough to not feel like they're babying the reader through babying the character. And I enjoy that. They have given her enough complexity because I think a 13-year-old girl I've been a 13-year-old girl, and we are very complex. We don't even know how to handle and process our own emotions. So, I think they do that well because they're not just boy crazy or obsessed with this actor or whatever. They're so complex when it comes to the things that they are focused on. But she is very dedicated to keeping this zoo running. Her dad has left. She doesn't know when he's coming back, but she's adamant that it's going to be she's going to care for this zoo until he does come back. Her uncle is her dad's brother, and he's very absent-minded in a lot of different ways. He's supposed to be of course, her guardian, and he doesn't even remember to buy groceries. So she kind of, again, has to be the grown-up in a lot of situations. So we find her caring for the animals and feeding the animals on the morning that this book opens. And once she's fed the animals, and we kind of get a glimpse into some of them, we also see her uncle trying to kind of convince her that she needs to have a life outside of this zoo. She doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have a social life outside of this zoo. It is just her uncle, and this zoo, and she doesn't socialize with anyone else outside of this, but she doesn't think she needs to. And as this one particular individual said, she's she is dealing with her own personal like issues and her own personal like crises, and her uncle is dealing with his own PTSD as well. And now Ava is 100% devoted to these creatures, these little ELBs, and they seem like they would probably be grotesquely cute in a lot of different ways. Like, I love grotesquely cute things. Like, they're like terribly awesome. And I think we all like, okay, that's a generalization, but there's something about like the little alien races that I picture in my head. I think it's like Pokemon are like they are they're so darn cute in all these horrible ways. A lot of like, I think of some of them and I'm like, wow, you're ugly, but man, you're adorable. And I think that's how I kind of picture some of these little ELBs whenever like they are described. So you don't have to picture them like Pokemon. You can maybe picture them more like um, magical creatures from the various fantasy books that are out there. Whatever floats your boat, but I think they do a good job of describing them as well. I'd love to know more about them, and it does seem as though this is just the first book in the series, so maybe we're going to get a little bit more of backstory. Maybe we're going to get more depth and exploring into that. We're going to get more into Harley because he does show up. Her uncle hires Harley to come in and kind of give Ava a break, which she does need, though she doesn't feel like she needs it. But also, her uncle kind of calls him like one of the lost ones. And I think that is something that, even though Ava doesn't realize it resonates with her, she does find a kindred spirit in him. And he comes at a very good moment because a hurricane type storm ends up hitting the park, and like intruders enter the zoo, and of course they at first you're like, okay, they're gonna harm the aliens, like what's going on, are they gonna steal the aliens, like what's gonna happen. So she's gonna try to protect her found family, and so that's really, there's a lot of that found family that you can kind of get with that as well, because her family, her mom and dad specifically, are gone. So all she had is Uncle Peter, Harley, and the ELBs. And she is really adamant about being just incredibly, I guess, protective of them. And it's really good. I liked it a lot. I flew through this book incredibly fast. And again, it was not a super big read, not super heavy lift. I think it was only about 240 pages. On my e-reader, I want to say it was really about the same. And I flew through it because I was so intrigued by the story that was woven. And if a junior in high school did write this, then dang, they have done an incredible job of writing this story. Now, if Jodi Picoult wrote this book, then good job you for, conveying the story in that way, because I know that she tends to write a little bit more of what's like women's fiction, I think was the last thing that, or like, she writes a lot of fiction, and I think what I remember is more like dramatic women's fiction is what I've read from her in the past. So usually very hard-hitting, very powerful stuff. And this does have some kind of power to it. There's a lot of like fighting for what you believe in. But anyway, with all of that being said, I really hope you'll give it a chance, because I do think it is, for a middle grade book, it was really good. Like, YA, like, you could even push it over into the YA realm in a lot of different ways. Middle grade tends to be something that I feels a little bit more loosey-goosey, a little bit more casual. YA tends to get into some of the harder hitting theming usually, in my opinion. Now, this one individual says that it's recommended for ages 10 and up, and honestly, I'm way over the age of 10 and I really enjoyed the heck out of it. So I'll definitely pick up the next one when I can find it. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you will. I did want to make a comment. I made a little note here, is there is the use of the word crap in this book. I thought that was so funny because that's kind of how you can tell it's like a middle grade book, because that's about as crass as it gets. And somebody else had made that comment. I want to say this individual Chelsea, so I'll give her the credit for finding that or making that particular distinction. And I highlighted it because I thought it was hilarious, and I didn't even think about it till she pointed it out, and I was like, yes, absolutely, that is too funny. And I don't need cursing and overly emoting sort of things a lot of time. But thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And I will see you guys on the next page. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great one. Bye.